Welcome back to the Mckinley Railway. I'm Steve Davis and we're obviously back here at Hades, or the Underworld as it's more likely called, and just giving you an update of where we are from the last video, which was taken here a few months ago. When you were here last time, you'd have seen this layer in the background being constructed. Since then, this layer has gone in, which is the third and final layer of Hades proper, and as you can see, we've started soldering all of the track together, and this is currently being tested. Now, as you can see, this layer under Sheffield is in, it's installed, all the underside wiring is done, and we've just got to obviously finish off the track connections on this side as well. Most of the boards down here, I'll pull one out so you can see, have been virtually wired up, so they're in the process of being tested now as well. And in effect, this is the top of what is Hades, the Underworld. It will finish here, and what will happen is the track will come in around where the soldering iron is and will then come into the top of the Helix. And as you'll see, the Helix is now probably 3 layers higher than where it was. And then from there, of course, the trains will go back down through. On the previous video, you'll have seen from David, he talked about the 2 holes through the wall, which will come through. They will come so that there is another line directly above the spiral, and just to the side of it, there is a mark on the wall, which will be where the second main line comes through. So what you're actually seeing now are 2 of the 3 storage levels under Halifax. They weren't here when you were here 2 months ago, so MRS have put those in. What we're looking at over this end now is that will come back in where that board is and connect in with the top of the Helix. That will then sweep back round and become part of the top of the spiral. This is the top of the Helix with the board waiting to be connected. Above that will be the line through to London, and directly next to it is the lower level coming through London, where it will come through the wall. And then where I'm stood here will be the beginning of the scenic railway.
Since last time, progress made, we've got the floor in here, we've got the bulkhead built, ready to take the electrical compartments for each level, level B, level A, and so on and so forth. Still a lot of work to do in here yet. Need to build a shelf around there to take a load of electrical gubbins. Don't know what any of it does. There's another level on the whole layout. Level C we're up to. The Helix has got at least 3 more levels on, and I think we're probably at the stage where, if this fits, hopefully, that goes on there, that connects to there, and then we need to bosh a hole in the wall, go on through and connect to the existing layout.
The hole will go through here, out the other side, and into the existing layout through the right hand hole here. Once that's done, we can then carry on with the HST section and bring another couple of layers on top of that.
This here, this bulkhead here, will form the back seam for the scenic level, which I haven't seen any track plans for at the moment, but I think Steve Davis has got some ideas of what he wants to do, but unfortunately for him, we're going to do it a completely different way. You don't know about that yet though.
Model Railway Solutions and myself, we have a sort of get together. They then tell me what bit of the woodwork they're going to do. They then come along and do their piece of the woodwork. I can then move in and start laying track and getting the wire sorted out. Once I've done that, I get up to a certain level, then they come back and we basically have to sort of work as a team and keep it going. It is quite awkward sometimes trying to get certain bits done, and we have had a lot of problems, like things not quite lining up, but we're slowly getting there. Over the last 2 months, we've been getting very involved by putting different types of circuit boards on the control panels to locate where the trains are going. And also we've been putting in point motors, wiring up the point motors and getting them all to work. I got involved in this project of this railway by getting to know Dave from a couple of years ago through the Poole Railway Club, and also by selling things for Dave on eBay. Dave also found out that I used to do MOD work when I used to work on Griffin and Eurofighter. He asked me if I'd join the team so that I could do the wiring and also the track laying and also any problems with the circuit boards. When it comes to the track laying, one of the main things we used to have problems with is on corners, when one is laying the track, if you just cut the track straight across and you're twisting it, you then end up getting kinks. So we decided that if you staggered the joint and also put a brass strip across and solder it, it will then stop the track from kinking. Also, when we pin the track, we decided to make the holes a little bit larger so there's a little bit of play in the track. By doing this, it stops the noise from going through the boards and the cork, and we don't actually pin it right to the ground, to the baseboard. Otherwise, you then have problems with the noise when the locomotive's going over it. When you are sorting out your track, you have to make sure that you allow a little gap between each rail joint, especially on a bigger layout, because in hot weather the track will expand, and if you're not careful you end up with it looking like spaghetti on a board. So that is very important. A lot of people don't do this, especially if they're building them in lofts and that, and then the hot weather comes and they wonder what's happened to their track. So that is very important. Also, the other thing that's important is good solder joints when you are wiring to the track. If you don't have a very good soldering joint, you will also have problems there. The other thing too is, as you can see, a lot of the track here, you can actually see the black and red wires. This has only been done like this because this is storage sidings. If this was a scenic board, you would not do that. On a scenic board, you would obviously do it so that you cannot see the wires at all. But because this is a storage side, it's not so important. And it's also easier for maintenance if you have to do any repair jobs.
We've already begun starting testing all of this, and we're probably about 2 months away from actually having it all working, and it will work exclusively separately from the railway through there. So for a short time anyway, we'll have a non-scenic railway with lots and lots of track, and we'll have a scenic railway with lots and lots of trains.
We're also almost ready now for start thinking about putting the top level on for doing the scenery, which I'm now looking forward to doing, especially when it comes to doing scratch building and doing all the trees and buildings.
You might all be wondering, how are they going to use all these miles of track they've laid for this storage yard for the time machine? So we thought we would just set up a quick sort of illustrative example of how it's going to be used, because by the time we do start to use it, it's going to be completely encased inside the existing or the new layout, so you'll never be able to see it. What we've set up here in one siding on level 3 are 3 trains that are from different eras, and the way it's going to work, this front train, which is a Blood and Custer set of coaches, in this example they put a diesel on the front end, but this should have a steam, I think, because this would be running from 1956 to about 1959. That will be drawn out by the computer and taken up to the layout and used by the operators in their day-to-day tasks of running local sort of suburban services with a 4-car set. In about 1959, that will come back down to the staging yard, to the what we call Hades. In the meantime, though, the following 2 trains will have been drawn forward and parked up, so the gap exists at the back. This siding has space for 3 short trains. So this train has gone up, the time's gone to 59, it comes back down. This train here would come up in about 1965 because it's an early repaint by Loughborough. He'll be on the layout, again being used by the operators to run all their trains, and in 1968 it will be taken back off the layout and brought back down. The other two are parked behind it, they've moved forward, it goes at the back. And then the final train is a DMU, an intercity DMU, so that would have come out in about 1969 and be used for the layout until probably the end of the operational time frame we're talking about, which is 1975. And once that's complete, it will come back down and park itself in this specific siding. So we have, everything is mapped out. Every train will have its own permanent home, and it will live there in sort of in concert with other trains. Some of these tracks are 4 trains long and can cope with 8 coach sets. Others are quite short. So we have a real variety of lengths of storage tracks to cope with all the different trains we wanted to run on the layout for all the different operating sequences we're going to have over that 20-year period.